Cam Turner's the quarterback's coach of the Indianapolis Colts, so he's the position coach for both Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. What's he think of this decision? What's he think about the future of Anthony Richardson? What's he think about Daniel Jones in the present tense, what he's going to be able to do? Here's Cam Turner talking about all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the consistency is the big thing that shows up, and just his approach, his operation at the line, consistent accuracy, and overall decision making. You know, he did a good job all throughout camp.
And I mean, obviously, he's been in the league quite a bit longer than Anthony has. What was there like any ground Anthony could have made to kind of like level that out to be the right choice as well, or is that just come with the territory of being a multi-year guy like that?
Yeah, he definitely has years experience, time on task ahead of Anthony. Throughout college, throughout the NFL, and the little things that he's seen, he's adjusted to, he's already executed. Anthony has not at this point, with only a few years of reps and games, and Anthony's made huge strides since he's been here in practice and throughout games, and you see it. You see the development and improvement. But I do think he'll get there. I think he'll keep continuing to develop and learning from Daniel.
What is the plan for Anthony? And I say that because he's been benched twice now, and usually when guys get benched twice with the franchise, they don't come back and have success with the same team.
Yeah, I mean, the plan for him is to continue to develop. He still has a job, a role, responsibility, which is our backup quarterback, and he has to be prepared to do that. And then my job is to help develop him and continue to grow because he is so young. We don't want to give up on him. We want to keep growing, continuing to learn, and developing as a quarterback.
And you say like what your role is. Can you explain what that is? I think some people might be a little naive to what does a quarterback's coach actually do? I
mean, teach them day to day, execute the drills, the game plan, implement the game plan within practice, drills, and then development, of young guys, even vets, just the day-to-day development and learning of the quarterback position.
Can you share anything about what Daniel may or may not have done to sort of establish himself? Because, whether he knew he was going to be started or not, you still have to establish that inherent leadership role as a quarterback and those kinds of things. Are there small things that he did that demonstrated that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, right when he came in, you guys have talked to Daniel. He's naturally quiet, but he is a leader. He came in here and worked and got to know and earn respect, learned the playbook, learned his teammates. So he did a great job of that from the day he got here.
When Anthony, you guys say the line of scrimmage, what specifically can you do in meetings when he's not getting as many reps in games? Obviously, he's doing scout team reps. What can you do in meetings?
Sure, there's a lot of things within the offense, any offense, where it's timing of motions, it's when you use your cadence, when you use the hard count, double cadence, which plays to do it on, which plays not to do it on, and it's just that learning experience that just the more you see it, the more you realize why you do it, the better you understand it.
Do you then have to handle him differently than you handle Daniel, Riley, Jason? Like his one-on-one emphasis
I think
is different than anybody else?
Kind of all, as a coach, you kind of cater to the learning style of each player, but they all have to learn the same information. Depending on how they learn is kind of how you present it to each one of them.
Are you convinced that Anthony wants to be here and be a backup quarterback? And the reason I asked is just a year ago when the Giants moved on from Daniel, he asked to be out of there. And so,
yeah, I think he wants to be here. Just speaking with him and, just going off his actions in our meetings, and, he's locked in and he's in a good place mentally, and I see no issues with that.
You said he's regressed in the line of scrimmage area? I mean, you guys obviously started him.
No, definitely. I think the opposite. I think he's continuing to learn at the line of scrimmage, and what he sees pre-snap, and just all the little things that go into playing the position. He's come a long way, and I've seen growth in that area.
3 years in the system, I guess, along those lines. Why do you think he hasn't been able to, seize the opportunity beyond just injuries? I mean, from that operational standpoint.
Yeah, he's missed a lot of snaps. With injuries, off season, in season, and you say 3 years, but really it's going into year 3 and with a lot of missed reps. But I do want to point out the growth he's had, at the line and the presence, and just taking the next step mentally as far as next level thinking.
With Daniel and taking shots, when I asked you a couple weeks ago, you said you're pleased with kind of how he's managed when to throw it downfield and when to kind of check it down. Like with a guy who hadn't done that a ton with the Giants for whatever reason, what's the process been of just getting him to that level where you are pleased with him?
I think you have to have him understand the big picture, you know, what he's saying big picture wise, and then just letting him know we're going to take shots. You take care of them and find completions on these shots. We'll keep calling them, and you'll have ample opportunities. We don't have to take shots just to take shots, you know.
With a guy who, you know, like their offensive line gave up a ton of sacks, they didn't have a ton of talent at receiver with the Giants. Like, has there been any like mental hurdle of like, no, you can take the shot because we have a receiver who can go downfield, we have the blocking that can keep you upright? Has there been any like mental thing with him?
I don't think so. I think it's just building trust through training camp and timing and knowing how to throw to each receiver, because each guy has a different skill set, and you throw to maybe each guy a little differently and have a different mindset when you are taking shots.
When you guys drafted Anthony, obviously the plan was never to get to this point, bench him a second time. So looking back, do you guys feel like, did you fail Anthony? Did he fail you, or did you fail each other?
No. As a position coach, you know, you want to see your guys succeed and be successful naturally. And, I feel like I've tried everything I can do, you know, and I feel like he's given great effort in that aspect too. And I don't think either way it's one or the other. I just think, you know, right now it's not where the consistency is just not where we wanted it to be.
So the last 2 years, the decision was made, Richardson's the starter over Minshew and then Richardson over Flacco. But this year, not with Daniel Jones. Is that more Daniel Jones or is that more Richardson?
You know, I think Daniel's done a great job. He's come in here and done exactly what we've asked him to do. And he's been consistent, and it truly was a good battle throughout camp.
Why do you all think you can, win with Daniel Jones, considering his career record and some of the issues he's had as well with decision-making and turnovers and things of that nature?
I would say his decision-making and the trust with him, you know, where the ball's in the right spot at the right time, and he's proven it, you know, through the spring, OTAs, through training camp, and it's just the consistency. You know what you're getting, you trust the decision-making, and then the accuracy has been very good.
So you've got, Daniel is a guy he's got that kind of mental catalog of all these years. There's been patience with Anthony, obviously, to this point. How important is it to, when it comes down to this decision, go with someone who's just going to orchestrate the system rather than relying on developing a singular player? Like, how much did that go into it?
Yeah, I think you want both. You want to keep developing, obviously, both of them. You want to keep developing and teaching Daniel. Same thing with Anthony. But honestly, I know you guys keep hearing the word, but it's the consistency of decision-making and accuracy and doing it day in and day out.
There's Cam Turner, and you know, you get the feeling that there's more going on here than is necessarily being shared. That's what I'm getting from Cam Turner, from Shane Steichen, from Jim Bob Cooter, from everybody, and they're not going to be completely transparent about all of this, and nobody should expect it to be. But the question that I asked about the difference in Anthony Richardson year 3, where he doesn't get the job, and Anthony Richardson year 1 and year 2, where he did get the starting job, it didn't satisfy me. You know what I mean? It's like company line answer. And so not revealing, I didn't expect it to be revealing, but I need more information about this decision than what we're being given, you know what I mean? But thanks to Cam Turner for standing there and answering questions from us.